Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing my review for Superman. This is going to be a no spoilers review, so you don't have to worry while watching this video. We will mention a couple of scenes that are in the trailer, but that's pretty much going to be it. So there's no worries watching this video. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos later this year. Okay, so let's get into this. So, what do I think about Superman? Is it a good film? Is it not good? Well, as you guys know, I'm a little bit biased. I am a DC fan, I am a Superman fan, and I've been looking forward to this film for a long time. Not only because it's the start of the DCU, which is a huge deal for me and for you guys watching this. I'm sure most of you are very excited for what James Gunn and Peter Safran have to offer for the DCU, but yeah, I mean, the Superman film had a lot to live up to, and to be honest guys, I loved it. I had a great time. I definitely need to watch it again to figure out like where it ranks in terms of DC films, but all I know right now, I've watched it once, I had a great time, I loved it, and I highly recommend you guys go ahead and watch Superman when it comes out in cinemas and in movie theaters in America on July 11th. So let's talk about Superman, let's do my review. So Superman is basically ripped straight out of the comics. That's like the biggest compliment you could give it. That's what James Gunn has been teasing all this time, and it truly is like that. And I loved the costume. Let's talk about the costume first, because the bright blues, the reds, the pants, like it really works. It's not something that you're used to seeing in modern takes of Superman, I guess. Like, yeah, Superman Lois, I feel like is kind of in between this and like Christopher Reeve. Like, it's maybe a little bit darker just based on like the stories that they did, but like if you look at Christopher Reeve, it's a bit more lighthearted and everything, and then you look at Man of Steel and what Zack Snyder did with Superman, that's way grittier and way darker, and this really feels like it's ripped straight out of the comics. Like, it's a great balance. It has the goofy side of Superman, but it's also vibrant, it's humane, it's relatable. Like, Clark Kent is relatable, and the kind of passion that he shows really comes through the screen, and it really connected with me, and I'm sure it's going to connect with most of you guys as well. So yeah, I love the costume, and we'll talk about David Corenswet in a minute, but I'm just listing off my notes, and I'm going to go through everything here. So I really did have a blast. Like I said, it's really entertaining, it will keep you smiling throughout, keeps you engaged. Like, yeah, it can be a little bit convoluted at times, like, you know, there is a lot going on, but really it's quite a straightforward story to do with Lex facing off against Superman, and that's like kind of your main thing. Yes, there is like different things that I won't talk about because, you know, that's spoilers and you guys have to watch the film, but when we come back and do another video and we can talk about spoilers, we can obviously get into like the nitty gritty and like actually breaking down what happens in the film in terms of story. But yeah, I had a great time. It was riveting, the music was great, like it really gets through to you. We'll talk more about the music later in this review, but let's talk about James Gunn. So I think it's very clear watching the film that James Gunn loves Superman, and his passion really does come across in like full force throughout this film. There is so much soul in this film. I feel like that is the best way to describe Superman. It's not just like your random, you know, DC kind of cash grab or something. Like, I think that's something DC has always done well. They always get passionate filmmakers. Like, yes, James Gunn's style of filmmaking and the way he's showing Superman is different from Zack Snyder, but like Zack Snyder, he clearly had a passion for Superman and he wanted to portray the Man of Steel in a certain way, and I feel like that's why Zack Snyder has so many fans for his Superman, and that's why Christopher Reeve has so many fans of his Superman, or like even on TV, like why Tyler's got so many great fans out there. Like, I have to admit guys, like Superman Lois on TV, like that really took me by storm. Like, I love that show. It's probably one of my favorite shows ever, and I'm gonna admit guys, obviously I can't really rank like David Corenswet in terms of Supermans right now because I've only seen it once, but right now like Tyler Hoechlin is like my favorite Superman because I love that show so much. So I feel like that was kind of something I had going into this, where I'm like really excited to see Superman Lois specifically, because that show spent so much time with both of those characters and I got to know them so well. I wanted to see what James Gunn had to offer, and yeah, like I said, there is so much soul to those characters, to the other characters, and like I said, this is the most humane, relatable and vibrant Superman that we've seen on the big screen since Christopher Reeve. I feel like that is the best way to put it, and it's definitely a different type of Superman. It's not exactly Christopher Reeve Superman, but it's more in that vein, and it definitely allows space for jokes, silly haircuts, and still lots of heart and lots of action as well. It's like got a really good balance, and obviously that's something that, you know, maybe some people will be like, oh, it's trying to do like too much, like is it trying to, you know, be too comic booky, and people can't accept that. Like obviously as a DC fan, I can accept the comic book nature of it, and I think that's one of its greatest strengths. But for people that are like film fans and really don't care about DC or comic books, like maybe the bright colors, maybe the jokes is a bit too much, maybe people aren't used to this version of Superman. Like that's been some of the conversation recently, that people don't think this is Superman because they're used to like the gritty Man of Steel Superman, and that's kind of what they've got used to, because we haven't had a Superman like this in a long time. Yes, Tyler on TV was a bit different, but not everyone watched Superman Lois, and I feel like if you're comparing, you know, Superman films and Superman actors who portray Superman in films, like you have to go back to like Brandon Routh's version of Superman to get a kind of more similar version to what we're getting right now. So it's been a while, and that's just something that people and audiences out there have to get a grip of. Like it's not going to be that kind of gritty Man of Steel Superman. But for DC fans, there is so much to dig into in this film. I want to go into all the spoilers, but I'm not going to. So we're going to do that in separate videos. I'll be sure to do like an ending explain video. I'll be sure to talk about any like big reveals in the film. That's going to be separate content, so make sure you stay subscribed for that, because that is something that is coming out in the next couple of days, as the film does release in 3 days from when this video is actually going up. But let's talk about David Corenswet, let's talk about Rachel Brosnahan, let's talk about Nicholas Hoult and the rest of the cast. First off, let's talk about the ensemble. The ensemble's great. They all have their moments, and like I think Eve Tessmacher was like a really fun addition. I think Jimmy Olsen is one of the big standouts of the film. Also, you've got the Justice Gang, which is obviously like Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, and Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. So they're great characters, metamorphosed in this. Again, not going to go into like what part they all have to play in the film, but that gives another layer that Superman films really haven't had recently, where you're including other DC characters, and I think they make a great addition to the ensemble. But I have to say the Daily Planet ensemble was definitely my favorite addition in this film, and it definitely feels more like a classic kind of Superman lineup from the comics, because you got everyone there who is like playing a role. I mean, most of them are small roles, but they have memorable moments, and same thing with like Lex's crew that you have seen briefly in the trailers. David Corenswet, let's talk about this. So he is pitch perfect as Superman. He obviously looks the part, he looks like traditional Superman, but he has that kind, he has that goofy and that passionate nature that, like I said, we haven't seen in a while. Like, yes, obviously we can talk about Tyler, I'm not going to go into that too much, obviously I'm a huge fan, as I keep on reiterating, but his version of Clark Kent is great. I love him in his quiet moments, in the moments with Lois, in the moments at the Daily Planet, but also David Corenswet's moments as Superman. I think he makes a great Superman, as he has these like passionate and explosive scenes that really stand out and make their mark. Like when you see the specific scenes that I'm thinking about right now, you will know it, and you'll know that this is Superman. Like in that moment I was telling myself, this is Superman, like for sure. He has convinced me this is the right person. James Gunn made the right choice to cast David Corenswet as Superman. So the flying scenes, they're obviously great, and I think the CGI is much better than recent DC films. Definitely a big step up from like The Flash and everything. And I think I was just really happy with the way it looked, and obviously paired with the music, which is incredible, and it really adds to like the film's heart and it definitely plays on your emotions, and it gets into the kind of epic moments, and it builds up in the classic Superman kind of style. And I really love, you know, all of that paired together, like the visuals, the music, and obviously the great acting with some good writing from James Gunn. It all comes together really well. So let's talk about Nicholas Hoult's Lex Luthor, because the story has a lot going on, but as I said earlier, the main storyline is quite straightforward as Superman takes on Lex Luthor. And Lex in this film is a bit different. He's more of the kind of scheming, nefarious type. Like, he's having a lot of fun playing Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult, and that is kind of your classic Lex from the comics. Like, that's the best way to describe him. He's just super nefarious. Like, he's so annoying. Like, he gets under your skin and he gets under Superman's skin very easily, and there is a couple of great moments in the film that I'm not sure if they've been shown, so I'm not going to really talk about that. But let's move on to talk about Rachel Brosnahan, because she is great as Lois Lane. I really loved her. She's actually probably my main standout of the film apart from Superman, because the interview scene with her that was shown in some of the trailers, that is definitely Lois's like defining scene. It was a great moment in the film, and I love the way that Gunn wrote her relationship, but also wrote her as a character. Like, she has moments away from Superman, but their relationship was written really well, and they're not perfect, but they try their best. And so it digs into that kind of realism of like relationships and how they can be imperfect and everything. And despite being Superman, he still has his struggles with his personal life. And the events of the film pull the two together, and I really loved seeing them both together, and I can't wait to see more of them in the future in the DCU. But I definitely needed more time with Clark Kent and Lois Lane with them at the Daily Planet. That was my one criticism of the film, because I got so used to, like, in Superman Lois, seeing Clark and Lois always together. Like, Lois does have multiple scenes throughout this film where she is separated from Superman, and obviously that makes sense because Superman is dealing with Lex and dealing with Crypto and everything. But it would have been nice to get even more, and that kind of goes into my other criticism, that the film almost feels too short. Like, it actually runs at under 2 hours, which is kind of crazy for a modern day superhero film, excluding credits. Like, including credits is like 2 hours and maybe 10 minutes or something like that. So I think that can work more for general audiences by it being shorter. I know a lot of criticisms recently with like Hollywood is that, you know, general audiences can't sit around for like 2.5, 3 hours. But as a DC fan, obviously I wanted more of these characters. I want to get to know them even better, even though I guess you get to know them pretty well in this film because we do spend a lot of time with them. So yeah, that's like my one other thing, but that's just like a nitpicky thing because I just want to spend more time with these characters. So to wrap this up, I just want to say Superman is a great start for the DCU, and I can't wait to see Supergirl next summer, obviously in the cinemas, and then Lanterns as well. Looking forward to seeing that on TV. But yeah, this is a Superman film that is ripped straight out of the comics. I love the costume, I love David Corenswet, I love Rachel Brosnahan. Nicholas Hoult did a great job as Lex Luthor. The visuals are good. It's a very classic kind of comic booky Superman. And that's all I could really ask for, and that's what I was expecting, and James Gunn delivered. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. Also subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. I'm going to be making lots more DCU content, so please be sure if you're new around here to stick around. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll have lots more Superman content in the next couple of days as the film releases. So thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.